Hey everybody, welcome on our channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Erina, Alice and Megumi. Part 1. Huge shout out to Redlocks2 for this story. If you are new on the channel, don't forget to subscribe our channel and like the video too. So without wasting any more time, let's start the story. Naruto Nakiri, who was most famous known as the older twin of the infamous god tongue Erina Nakiri, hummed to himself as he cautiously walked through the halls of Totsuki Academy. I think Erina Amauta-chan is doing the testing for this year's entrance exam today. Naruto thought to himself before an image of Erina looking down at a dozen chests with an evil smirk appeared in his mind. Tough luck guys. Erina will probably not even have to judge anyone, since most people would rather go to another school than get a bad review from sis. Naruto thought with a sigh. He loved his younger twin dearly, but he would be first to admit even he thought her standards were insanely high, god tongue or not. I mean, she did attempt to fire half of our maids when she complained our clean laundry smelled too salty. Naruto thought dryly, still remembering how even as a toddler she could be considered a devil. Naruto Nakiri was an insanely handsome young man who shared his sister honey blonde hair, although his was a shade brighter yellow and a somewhat spiky hairstyle. He often was told his hair made him a rebel, but he took in stride, unlike Erina, who blushed whenever he asked her what he thought of it. He was a few inches taller than his twin, along with more purple pinkish eyes. Unlike Erina, who almost had a condescending smirk or frown set on her pretty face, Naruto's expression was usually more cheerful and happy, which allowed him to befriend all the staff at the Nakiri household, much to Erina's chagrin. I wonder how Alice is doing. I know we won't see each other till next month, but still I hope she is doing fine. Naruto wondered out loud with a small smile. Despite Alice being Naruto and Erina's cousin, he still treated her as a younger sister, much to Alice's happiness and Erina's sheer annoyance, as neither female cousin called each other sister in return. It's disgusting, Naruto heard his beloved twin scream from the top of her lungs. Naruto peered around the corner as he looked towards the classroom where he knew Erina was the examiner for this year transfer students. Well, at least she tasted someone cooking for once. Naruto thought dryly as he knew his sister would have had such a drastic reaction if she just looked at food and judged it. He then saw a dumbfounded red-haired boy his age walked out looking like a zombie, walking out the doors with his mouth wide open. Naruto walked in afterwards with a grin as he saw Erina fuming before he waved to her. Hey Erina. How did the test go? Naruto asked with a teasing smile as Erina's face immediately lit up with happiness seeing her twin before she composed herself with a cough and mild blush. Naruto. They all failed. This slop is not worth being called food. To think it actually touched my tongue is a travesty. Erina claimed, crossing her arms above her ample chest. Erina Nakiri was a beautiful young woman who was considered by most of the Totsuki High School to be the most beautiful woman in the entire school. Some people even referred to as a goddess despite her less than warm personality. Erina was a pale-skinned girl who is considered to be extremely beautiful by most of the students in Totsuki, with lower back-length honey blonde hair that has side bangs partially crossing her cheeks and goes down all the way to her neck, purple pinkish eyes, large friests and a plump foot. She wore the typical Totsuki school outfit, but due her own measurements actually highlighted her friests and friest. I see. You did give them a shot, right? You didn't just fail them because they drooled or whimpered in your presence, right? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow as Erina huffed her cheeks in annoyance. HMPH, they were all cowards who couldn't make it a pub bar. Erina claimed with a vicious smirk as Naruto nodded his head slowly. I see. Naruto said with a hint of a sigh escaping his mouth. And you should have seen the nerve of the last guy, Naruto-sama. That sheer arrogance was so infuriating. How dare he imply he is the same level as Erina-sama? An annoyed female voice said from behind Erina as a girl stepped out. The voice belonged to Hisako Arado. She was Erina's personal secretary and both of Naruto and Erina's childhood friend. However, Hisako herself claimed she lived to serve all of Erina-sama and Naruto-sama's needs, much to Naruto's slight annoyance and Erina's glee. Hisako was roughly an inch shorter than Erina herself, with shorter pink-colored hair that only reached to her chin, not her lower back. She appeared to have a more petite figure, at least compared to the overly busty Erina. Hi to you too, Hisako-chan. Naruto greeted with a smile and waved before he frowned slightly. And I told you 1,000 times. You don't need to add Sama to my name. We are friends, so you can just address me as Naruto if you want. Naruto added as Hisako blushed slightly. I could never. Erina-sama and Naruto-sama are far too important to be called so informally. Hisako insisted as Erina smiled at her underling, while Naruto sighed before shrugging. I guess if you want to call us that, nothing I can do about it. Naruto commented as Hisako nodded her head eagerly. Anyway, so who was the last guy you tasted food from? I could hear your disgusting from across the hall, Erina. Naruto asked his sister, who suddenly grew rather mad. Sma Yukihira is a simpleton who can only make common people food with no respect for his betters. I swear on my name as Nakiri he will never attend Totsuki Academy ever. Erina declared as Hisako nodded her head in approval. Agreed. We must inform your grandfather of this decision at once. Hisako noted as Erina eagerly nodded. My see. What did Sma-san make anyways? Naruto asked curiously as Erina frowned before pointing at a bowl sitting on the table. Transforming Furikake Gohan he called it, but all it's is simple rice and eggs. Erina stated with notable spite as Naruto looked over at the bowl. It does look like a bit more common food than Erina is used to, but it sure doesn't look like slop. Naruto thought as his phone happened to fall out his pocket when Erina and Hisako walked out. Come on Naruto. I am going to call grandfather then I can make us some real food at home. I need to get the taste of filth out of my mouth after all. Erina told him as they walked in the empty hallways with Hisako trailing behind faithfully. Naruto nodded before he placed his pocket into his pocket and realized his phone was gone. Oh shoot. My phone must have dropped in the exam room. I better go back for it before we lock up the doors. Naruto said innocently with a sheepish smile. Erina frowned before she looked at Hisako. Hisako can go back and get your phone. There is no need for you to go back Nai-chan. Erina said firmly with notable affection when she talked to her brother. Yes, Erina-sama. Right away. Hisako said with a pleased smile. She attempted to turn back only for Naruto to place a hand on her shoulder and hold her back. No. It's my phone and my responsibility Erina. Naruto said firmly, and when Hisako looked like she was about to argue his expression softened. Besides Hisako-chan is our friend not our butler. I don't need her to fetch anything for me. Naruto added with a grin as Hisako started to fidget and blush at Naruto's outright affection for her. Erina sighed before she started wailing again. Fine. Just meet us at my office when you're done alright. We will be waiting for you. Erina said as Naruto sent her a nod before he started to walk back to the classroom. As soon as Erina and Hisako were out of view Naruto walked quicker back to the classroom and quickly grabbed his phone from where he dropped it before. Naruto then went to the transforming Furikake Gohan was still sitting on the table and still fairly warm. I know these are simple ingredients and it is just rice and eggs essentially, but I think I want to see what it tastes like myself. Naruto mused as he quickly grabbed the chopsticks that Erina left behind to grab some of the golden yellow eggs and rice onto the chopsticks. Here goes. Naruto said before he placed the eggs and rice into his mouth at the same time. Naruto's eyes widened as he let the flavors mix and explode in his mouth. This is actually really good. I mean it's simple but flavorful and creative. Did Sma really make this from scratch with just the ingredients here? Naruto said with notable surprise and respect. Naruto quickly checked the cupboards and pantry and it confirmed that none of the ingredients were high quality or fancy. It's almost like Erina asked them to put low quality ingredients in the test room. Not that she would ever be that petty right? Naruto mused before looking at the bowl of rice. Not bad at all. Is it something that could beat one of the 10? Probably not but a failing grade. Naruto wondered out loud as he looked at the rice bowl and at his phone. His hand slipped to where his grandfather contact information was. Meanwhile with Erina. Yes, please tell my grandfather. None of the new transfers were acceptable. Erina said calmly before she hung up the phone with a pleased smile. Now what is taking Naruto so long? It's just a stupid phone. Erina raged as Hisako tried to calm the irate young woman down. 1 month later. Naruto stood near the back out of sight of the new students of Totsuki High School Division. Hisako stood dutifully by his side with he spotted Alice near the front with her lapdog Ryo Kurikiba next to her. Naruto was amused nobody noticed him on opening ceremony as everyone's attention was focused on the front where Erina was going to make a speech. Erina stood there with a proud smile as she walked up as the freshman representative and also being the newest and youngest member of the Council of 10. Everyone clapped rather loudly, although several male members started to blush blown away from Erina's sheer grace and beauty. However, these boys were quickly rebuked by others at the front due to Erina's reputation of being an ice queen who could ruin their culinary futures with but a single word. As Erina stood there another female student announced now to give our opening address by our very own academy director. Senzaman Nakiri-sama. Nearly every student gasped as Senzaman walked up with a stern expression and his arms crossed. He was Naruto, Erina and Alice's grandfather and head of the Nakiri family, along with Totsuki Academy director. Naruto resisted grinning knowing his grandfather was actually rather kind and soft, especially when it came to his grandchildren, but kept up his reputation of being stern and almost a demon. Senzaman began his speech describing how the students there went through 3 years of middle school to get to this point as first-year high school students. Although make no mistake. Despite getting to this point I can say that 99% of you will be sent home before graduation of your 3rd year here. The 1% of you who do graduate will be gods in the culinary world after reaching over the fallen corpses of your classmates. You must claw and fight harder than ever before if you wish to be considered the best of the best. Senzaman announced as everyone gasped at the extremely low success rate to actually graduate. One blue-haired girl started to freak out even more inside, while several other students gulped. Of the 1,000 students who start, roughly 10 will make it to the end and graduate, so the inept and weak will be picked off as time goes on. Senzaman reminded them. Cook hard and study hard, and you might be one of the who survive and thrive. Senzaman told them as he started to walk off. Erina smirked, confident in her ability to be one of the ones who would graduate and feeling pity for everyone else who she assumed would falter long before her graduation. Everyone except Naruto, of course. He will be at my side as we graduate, top of our class. Erina thought with a proud smile. Erina looked up from her seat when it was announced that there was one transfer student. It must have been from someone who was not examined by me. Erina thought, refusing to acknowledge that her word was overwritten from her batch. Erina's eyes widened in shock and anger as a very familiar red-haired boy walked up with a confident smile on his face. Hiya. I guess I should say something, right? Sma asked thoughtfully, rubbing his head in embarrassment, not expecting to have had to give a speech. A majority of the students thought that the new guy is so unrefined. And he transferred here without taking 3 years of middle school here. He is so going to flunk. Okay, so my name is Sma Yukihira. I know it's kinda odd I transferred here now, but I am just going to lose people who don't have any real experience serving customers. So in short, this school is just a stepping stone for me, and I am going to be number 1. See the few odd you at graduation. Sma said bluntly before he bowed and walked off stage. A few people were horrified at his blunt dismissal of them, while a vast majority of students instantly made Sma enemy number 1 in their minds. That little. Erina thought angrily, seeing Sma as everything a student should not be. Alice smirked and giggled into her hand. Sma Yukihira, huh? Big talker, but who knows if he can back up those big words with cooking. Alice thought with amusement. Hisako looked murderous, especially in her eyes. Sma Yukihira embraced her beloved Erina on stage. I swear that man will be out of here no matter what. Hisako mumbled as she didn't notice Naruto's lack of anger. Sma Yukihira. I gotta say that cooking might be able to back up cooking. He should at least last year, but being number 1. We shall have to wait and see, huh? Naruto thought with a small smile. Odd, I might want to go somewhere else to sleep, especially if Erina ever finds out about how Sma got into the school. Naruto thought with a wince, as he could almost see his sister frothing at the mouth. As Sma Yukihira continued to get booed off the stage, Naruto could not help but smirk as he looked at the fuming Hisako. Hisako-chan. Naruto said calmly as Hisako turned to him, instantly back to her ready to take orders mode. Yes, Naruto-sama. Hisako asked dutifully, bowing her head once. This year will definitely be interesting. Naruto noted, much to Hisako's confusion. Interesting? You mean the fact that all 3 Nakiri children are first years in Tatsuki High? Hisako asked with a notable cute head tilt in Naruto's opinion. Naruto only smiled as he thought that too. Soon an irate Erina joined them after huffing about the sheer arrogance of Sma Yukihira, who apparently claimed that he was going to be number 1 at this school, despite clearly not knowing about how you advance to Tatsuki. Soon their first lesson of the day, where Hisako, Naruto and Erina were in the same classroom. Naruto and Erina stood in front of a stove together, while Hisako stood by herself next to a stove behind them, as if she was waiting for orders. A teacher who appeared to be in his 30s with brown hair and brown eyes soon coughed, getting the attention of the class. Welcome to Tatsuki High School Division. This might be the first day for classes, but I still expect the finest dishes from this class. The professor said sternly as a majority of the class gulped, especially as the 2 famous Nakiri students were both in their class. Although Erina had a proud smirk as if challenging the idea she would fail, Naruto had an easygoing smile that had many females swooning due his naturally good looks. Okay, now today, as it's the first day, it was decided all classes would work on the same dish. Boeuf bourguignon, a classic French dish. The professor announced as everyone started to chatter until he coughed, getting their attention again. As these dishes have been classified as taking 2 people to prep, we have assigned lab partners. Each pair will take 1 kitchen and have 2 hours to complete the dish. As I call the groups out, please arrange yourselves into a single stove, please. The professor announced as he started to call out names from his checklist. Oh. I just realized that since Erina will only ever work with me or Hisako-chan, this will be bad. Unless Hisako is forced to work with someone else, Erina and I won't be working together. Naruto thought with a worried thought, not so much on what would happen to him, but what Erina would do if they got split up. Soon down to the end of the list for assigned lab partners, and the professor said Erina Nakiri and Hisako Arado are a pair. As everyone glanced towards the surprised Erina and Hisako as they looked at Naruto, who was the only person left who did not have a partner. This must be a mistake. Naruto Nakiri is not listed, the professor whispered in fear and shock, but unfortunately, he did not whisper quiet enough for the god tongue Erina herself, who seemed to produce a red aura as her long hair swayed almost if it had a mind of its own. Excuse professor. I might have heard wrong, but my dear brother Naruto is not listed to have a partner, Erina hissed angrily, while still retaining her majestic voice laced with hatred and anger. She somehow appeared to tower over the professor, who looked ready to beg for his very life, while the class itself was quietly whimpering and staying quiet, less Erina anger transferred over to them. Erina-san, this was an honest mistake. There is an odd number of students this year, and Naruto-san must have been not added to the list. The professor tried to say calmly, but everyone could see him about to go on his knees and beg for his life. Excuse me professor. What is your name again? Erina asked sweetly with the same aura of death, making everyone, even Hisako, inch away from the pretty but very dangerous high school girl. Naruto just smiled, although he did feel a stab of pity for the professor, who looked like he made an honest mistake. Erina-san, I am Professor Ho-Ho Akira. Ho-Ho said, notably sweating as Erina's smile turned into a frown, and her aura of death, if possible, seemed to intensify. Well, Ho-Ho Akira-san, I think your name will be mentioned at the next meeting of the 10. You should feel honored, as I am sure the teacher budget may need to be cut again. I wonder whose salary will be cut this year. Erina asked sweetly, but her twitching eyebrow showing her anger. Erina-san, I am sure we can work something out and not need to get the 10 involved. Ho-Ho asked, pleaded, as everyone glanced between him and Erina, as if watching a very tense tennis match. Or rather, a queen ready to execute a peasant for making a mistake in her presence. Maybe my brother can join Hisako and myself as a 3-person group. Erina suggested, putting one finger on her chin as Naruto kept his face neutral but saw the other students whispering to each other. He could almost see the smug expression on Hisako out the corner of his eyes. That's showing that peasant who is boss, Erina-sama. Hisako whispered in happiness. The poor professor eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. Erina-san. This curriculum is set up so classes are graded as pairs. Even for someone of yours and Naruto-san lineage to have a special 3-person group would be far above my own power. Ho-Ho sputtered, only to get a famous glare from Erina. Well professor. It is well in my power to suggest what kind of budget changes need to happen as a member of the 10. Erina mocked, placing one delicate hand on her hip and the other underneath her ample chest. If people were not going to piss their pants, I think a majority of the class would think Erina would be so hot right about now. Naruto thought to himself, actually thinking his intimating sister would be considered the ultimate ice queen type. So Ho-Ho-sensei. What is more important in your opinion? Your lack of power or my actual power in regard to a subtle change to the grouping? Erina asked, daring the poor professor to tempt her. But it would be outright favoritism if I allowed this to happen, Ho-Ho mumbled, looking down to hear a cough and the cold eyes of Erina Nakiri. Excuse me? I could not hear what you just said. Erina said impatiently, tapping her foot impatiently as she placed both arms underneath her ample bosom. Ho-Ho sputtered, bowing his head in defeat. I have no choice. I am sure Nakiri-sama will understand if it's for his grandchildren. Ho-Ho thought with a sigh, about to announce the change until Naruto coughed, getting all attention of him. Excuse me? Can I say my 2 words? Naruto asked as Hisako and Erina looked at him with notable surprise. Naruto? Erina asked her twin with concern. Okay, so this will solve it. Naruto said cheerfully as he walked next to a surprised Hisako. Naruto-sama. Hisako said before she eeped as Naruto grabbed her hand, not seeing her blush. Naruto then dragged her softly towards where Erina was still standing and dropped her off. Then he walked where Hisako stood and gave a thumbs up. There. Now Hisako-chan and Erina are partners while I will be on my own. That way Ho-Ho-sensei only needs to add my name as a separate file in the grading database instead of arranging the set plan for a 3-person group. Naruto said with a grin as everyone gave him a dumbfounded expression. Ho-Ho picked up his jaw and looked at Naruto in the eye. Naruto-san. Let me get this straight. You want to be your own grading group for this year? Professor Ho-Ho asked with a notable air of surprise. It was well known every student wanted a partner to at least compare notes on how to cook the assigned dishes or add their own personably spins on it. Having a single-person team was unheard of, as it greatly put that group at a disadvantage compared to the other teams. Yup. Naruto chirped as silence went across the room as Naruto started to take pots and pans out of the cardboard for a minute before Erina realized what Naruto was doing. This is outrageous. Why should my brother be the only single-person team when the grades are supposed to be reflective of the groups? Erina snapped as Naruto looked back, all her dryly. Pause, you and I are probably the only first years who could do these courses alone. Let alone in a group of 3. Naruto retorted as Erina looked taken back. Okay, it's not like I don't trust my brother, as he is the only person who is my equal, Erina fumed to herself. She knew her own skillset was easily more than enough to complete the dish on her own, and her brother could easily do it as well. The principal of them or even Hisako being forced to take a graded class alone however was the issue in her mind. Naruto-sama, Hisako whispered as she glanced between the two people she respected most, biting her as she was considering asking to be one alone so the twins could be in a group together. Wait. If I drop out and Erina-sama and Naruto-sama are grouped together because of that, that means I don't believe in the greatest cooks in the first years to do a simple dish like this on their own. Hisako thought in realization as she started to fidget and blush in frustration. Wo Naruto-sama has balls of steel to talk that way to Erina-sama. One boy whispered to his partner. Naruto-sama is so generous to take the fall so gallantly. A girl whispered to her friend as they sent dreamy looks at Naruto. Erina was biting her lip as she clenched one fist as the other was holding herself up on the counter as she stared at Naruto back as he hummed, glancing at the instructions with seemingly no care in the world. Naruto. You really shouldn't do this, Erina said with a frown as Naruto sighed. Look, Erina. It's no big deal. It's one mistake and there are an odd number of students here right now so it can't be helped. Naruto pointed out gently but with a warm encouraging smile. Figures. He is the only one who is getting screwed over, but here he is comforting me again. Erina scoffed with a small smile on her face. Ho-ho-sensei. It has been 15 minutes already. Shouldn't everyone else get started as this will take a bit of time to actually make? Naruto pointed out to the professor who blinked before nodding his head rapidly. Yes, of course. Students, these dishes still need to be completed by the allotted time. Ho-ho coughed as everyone else blinked before they started to scramble for ingredients. Hisako. Erina said, simply glancing at the table with ingredients. Yes, Erina-sama. Hisako said, bowing her head dutifully as she ran to the front of the class to grab the best quality ingredients for her and Erina dish. She glanced over at Naruto, hoping to accidentally drop some ingredients for him too. However, she almost gasped when Naruto's station already had the perfect ingredients in place and Naruto was calming cutting the beef and had his pot of water already boiling. Naruto-sama already grabbed his ingredients and started to cook while everyone was bickering over him. Hisako thought in amazement. Meanwhile, Ho-ho was in a corner as he pulled out his phone and called someone. Hello, this Professor Ho-ho. Due to an error and an odd number of students in this class, Naruto Nakiri has agreed to work solo for this year graded lessons. Ho-ho whispered. Someone on the other line whispered back to him. Yes, Erina Nakiri did bring up, but Naruto Nakiri has graciously decided for this arrangement. Ho-ho whispered rather sheepishly. The other person of the line whispered furiously, although with a hint of pity could be heard. Yes, I am well aware my job was on the line, but please make the arrangements as soon as possible. Ho-ho replied with a sigh of relief as he hung up his phone. Roughly 45 minutes, 1 hour into the actual class time. Sensei, I am ready. Naruto chirped, brining up his dish covered in a metal cover. What? That should not be possible as it would take at least 90 minutes to cook this properly. Ho-ho said with shock as everyone besides Erina, who just smirked, and Hisako, who saw Erina smirk, paused their work to see the Nakiri male present his work. Naruto-sama is already done. That was so fast. A student said as they looked at Naruto, who just smiled. Well, you can taste for yourself, sensei. Naruto said brightly as he removed the cover as a heavenly smell erupted from his plate as the majority of the class started to drool slightly. Even Ho-ho had to gulp and cough several times to regain his composure. Hisako turned bright red and looked at Erina, who looked at her own dish but licked her lips and shivered in delight. Damn it, Naruto. How is it that you can make something like this so damn delicious? Erina cursed to herself, watching her pot to distract herself. Well, it certainly looks appealing. Now it's time to test the softness of the beef itself. Ho-ho said as he took his fork and watched it sink into the beef effortlessly. It's so soft. A male student gasped watching the fork sink into the beef. Ho-ho took a chunk into his fork and placed into his mouth and chewed. As soon as he chewed, his eyes rolled into the back of his head and he groaned. So good. It's perfectly cooked and has such wonderful flavors. An A as there ever was one. Ho-ho said after nearly a minute of chewing and eating several bites. Naruto bowed as the class gave him several impressed whispers. Thank you, sir. Naruto said modestly as he turned and saw Hisako clap happily, while Erina gave him a proud smirk as he sent her a wave. Naruto Nakiri. The sourness. Ho-ho called back to him as Naruto smirked and nodded. I see. Very impressive. If only you could get a higher grade than A, Ho-ho murmured with regret as the class started to work on their own beef dishes once again. Naruto walked over to his station and after picking up his bag, he placed a hand on Erina's shoulder. See you for lunch? Naruto asked as Erina nodded. Of course, Naruto. Erina told him softly. See you then too, Hisako-chan. Naruto told Hisako as he gave her a smile too. Hisako bowed her head as Naruto walked out the classroom. As Erina went back to her own dish she smiled softly. Of course, he would take the risky route and use that. Erina whispered as Hinako leaned over to listen. Use what, Erina-sama? Hisako asked curiously. Erina looked over her shoulder to where Naruto already left before turning back to Hisako. A very careful blend of pineapple juice to his beef as he cooked it. Just the perfect blend so it would overpower the beef itself. Erina whispered as Hisako's eyes widened in shock. Back with Naruto. I'm still an hour before class ends, although knowing Erina she definitely won't take all that time. Naruto sighed as he walked in the empty hallway, knowing almost everyone else would still be in class working on the assignment. Naruto. A very happy feminine voice sang from behind him. Naruto turned around just in time to catch a silvered hair blur who crashed into him. He caught him in his arms as he spun her around before putting her down as he grabbed her waist in a tight embrace and her wrapping her arms around his neck in a tight warm embrace. Hey Alice. Been a while. Naruto said warmly as he caught the warm scent of Alice's vanilla shampoo invade his nose for a pleasant embrace. He had solely missed his cousin who did not live with him and Erina during the holidays between years. You dummy. You wouldn't need to miss me so much if you moved in with me. Alice's snappy remark came from his shoulder as she buried her face into his shoulder as he buried his face into her sweet and familiar smelling hair. I know. Sorry about that. Naruto apologized as Alice just gave a tired sigh. HMPH. I love you Nai-chan. Alice whispered as Naruto's smile grew. I love you too Amato-chan. Naruto replied revealing they considered each other siblings despite being cousins. Alice was a very beautiful young woman who like Naruto and Erina was in her first high school. She was actually 2 months older than Naruto and Erina, but she treated Naruto as the older sibling who in return treated her essentially a second younger sister like Erina. Alice had roughly the same curves and almost the same measurements as her cousin Erina. She had short silver hair that reached her shoulder, one with notable bang, reaching further down her left side of her face. She wore a variation of the Totsuki Academy where she wore a cream-colored sweater instead of the uniform jacket. She did still wear the standard short skirt, dark blue socks and black shoes. In Naruto almost opinion Alice was just as attractive as Erina, but in a different way despite Erina being considered the most beautiful girl at the school. After a few minutes they pulled apart as Naruto looked around. Where is Ryo-kun? Naruto asked politely as Alice smiled before pointing to a corner where shadows were lurking. Ryo was nice enough to hide during our reunion. Alice pointed out as a tall boy with shaggy black hair stepped out of the shadow with a bored expression. That was nice. Hi Ryo-kun. Naruto said warmly as Ryo looked blankly at him. Ryo said nothing as Naruto chuckled, but Alice glared at her lapdog. Ryo. Don't you dare be rude to my brother. When he says hi you reply back. Alice lectured puffing her cheeks which in Naruto's opinion was rather adorable. Hi. Naruto. Ryo said flatly after a moment as Alice started to smack him with her fists, which did not seem to bother him. Ryo. Don't you dare talk so informally with my brother. Alice snapped as Naruto waved a hand in dismissive. It's alright. I don't care what people say about me. I even told Hisako-chan to call me Naruto, but she just turns red and says Sama to my name. Naruto sighed as Alice smirked. You really don't get it do you? Alice asked as Naruto gave her a confused look. At what? Naruto asked as Alice shook her head with a confident smile. Boys are just silly and don't get what's so obvious sometimes. Alice pointed out as Naruto looked even more confused while Ryo just stood there bored. Before Naruto could ask further he heard a familiar cough as he turned around to see Erina and Hisako. Erina had an annoyed expression, while Hisako had a serious expression. Erina. Hisako-chan. You finished? Naruto asked warmly waving them over as the two young women walked gracefully over. Yes, Naruto. We got an A as expected. Erina said with a warm tone, but her eyes grew cooler when they glanced at Alice. Yes, Naruto-sama. Hisako said bowing her head for a moment. As soon as Alice saw Erina her expression grew grumpy, while Ryo glanced at Hisako who glared at him while he still looked bored. Erina. Alice said with a cool undertone. Alice. Erina replied with a haughty tone as the two cousins stared each other down. Unlike with Naruto the two cousins did not treat each other as sisters or referred to each other as sisters, especially when Naruto was around. Naruto sighed as the two cousins stared each other down. This could take a while Naruto thought as he could almost see red electricity come from Alice clashing with Erina blue lightning as if they had an aura trying to assert dominance. As the two female cousins glared each other down with the aides faithfully at the sides, nobody saw Naruto slip past them as he walked away quiet as a mouse. I wonder if anyone else is close to being done. I know this dish should take the full 2 hours more or less, but maybe there are certain upstarts like me and my sisters. Naruto wondered. Naruto happened to walk by a room where he heard a lot of worried mumbling from a young girl. Naruto stopped by the door to peek in. He instantly recognized Sma Yukihira's distinctive red hair and saw next to him a short dark blue-haired girl who had her hands over her mouth in terror. "Oh no. There is no one we can recook this in time," the blue-haired girl said, horrified, glancing at the clock, revealing there was only 30 minutes left on the clock. Naruto could see two very notable boys smirking darkly, almost oozing hatred and pride against Sma. So those brats added to Sma's and that blue-haired girl's beef, so it would not be edible, especially with such a small amount of time left. Naruto mused, making sure to hide out of view. "Sma, what do you plan to do now?" Naruto thought to himself, curious on how the new transfer student would get out of this situation. "Is that?" Naruto thought, glancing ajar in Sma's hands, which he scooped a few spoonsful into the beef. "How interesting, Sma Yukihira. Pretty creative way to save your dish," Naruto thought with a smile as he leaned against the door. Several minutes later, Sma's and the blue-haired girl went to present their dish. Chef Roland Chappelle soon tasted their dish and was genuinely impressed, to the point where he smiled, much to the shock of the class. Sma soon revealed he used honey to make up the difference in the dish and enhance the dish quality. This made the chef smile with pride as A rewarded them with an A, much to the team's joy. Naruto walked away and thought, how interesting, he went the opposite way of me but still got the desired result. Trial and error, huh? After Naruto sneaked off from the display of Sma wowing his professor on the first day of classes, he came back to an irritated Erina and Alice frowning at him. Hisako gave him a disappointed look while Ryo had a small but notable smirk on his uninterested face. "Hey. How's it going?" Naruto asked rather sheepishly as both of his sisters came up close to grab each of his cheeks and pull them firmly, making him wince. "Well, Ani-chan. Erina and I were a bit surprised to see you vanish out of nowhere equals after our greeting," Alice said with a smile, but with a notable undertone threat hidden in it. Erina actually let go of Naruto's cheek to glare at Alice, who also released other cheek to smirk at Erina. "Alice. He is my older brother, not yours. We are simply your cousins, nothing more," Erina hissed as Alice's eyes grew dark before a condescending smirk appeared on her face. "Oh really? Erina-chan," Alice said mockingly as Erina crossed her arms angrily. "Last time I checked, Naruto does call him Amato-chan, so that would imply at least to him I am his little sister as well," Alice pointed out as Erina got up close to Alice to the point where both their ample chests pressed against each other. Naruto could see the tiny bit of hurt appear on Erina's face before angry appeared instead. Naruto thought with a sweat, wow, if they weren't going to kill each other and anyone who got in their way, I think it would be pretty hot. Hisako crossed her arms and looked with a stoic face, waiting for Erina to give her an order, while Ryo still had an uninterested expression, but his arms were crossed, showing he was on edge. "Well, Alice-chan," Erina said mockingly back. "Last time I checked, Naruto lives with me outside the school, so at the very least I am the little sister who is always there," Erina remarked with a dark tone. Alice's face showed a pained expression before anger covered it up as Alice and Erina tried to bump against each other in a show of dominance. Naruto sighed, knowing only he could actually make his sisters forget this little dispute. "I am guessing you haven't eaten yet?" Naruto asked at Hisako and Ryo. "No, Naruto-sama," Hisako said rather dutifully. "Nah," Ryo said, bored. "Alright. How about we go back to the mansion and I make lunch for all of us?" Naruto asked cheerfully as Hisako and Ryo looked carefully at the Nakiri female cousins. After a tense moment like a switch, both female Nakiri cousins stepped apart and both had extremely happy expressions and even auras. "Yes please," Alice chirped, said, pressing her chest and self against one of Naruto's arms possessively. "I would love that, Naruto," Erina said happily, showing a beautiful smile and like a magnet took his other arm into her bountiful chest, leaning against him. "Wow, this isn't the worst way to get my sisters to calm down," Naruto thought as he started to walk back to the Nakiri mansion with his two lovely sisters cuddling up against him. Ryo and Hisako dutifully walking behind as the group went to their shared home during their time at campus. Several hours later. Naruto sighed as he dragged a wagon full of various items and supply he borrowed from the Nakiri mansion supply closet. Hey, if they actually cared if I took this stuff, they should not have labeled the closet poor people supplies. Naruto thought to himself, justifying him not actually telling Erina or even Alice he was taking this stuff with no time frame in mind when or if he planned to return the supplies. As he walked, he held onto his phone with one hand, looking at one contact in particularly with a frown. He thought for a minute before a small smile appeared on his face as he stopped and pressed his finger to the contact to call the person. He dropped the handle to the wagon to rub his hair nervously while the other hand out the phone close to his ear. Someone on the other line answered as Naruto gulped slightly. "Hey. It's me, Naruto. Been a while, huh?" Naruto said softly but with warmth in his voice. The other person seemed to scream on the line as Naruto pulled the phone away from his ear as he let the other person vent for a few seconds before the line got quieter. Sorry I haven't called recently. Things have been busy with school and everything. Naruto apologized as he looked down at the ground. The other person answered with warmth as Naruto's smile grew bigger. Yeah. Alice and Erina are doing great. Ryo-kun and Hisako-chan are of course here to keep them company even when I am not. Naruto assured the person as he gave a fond smile. The other person asked. It has been interesting. I feel like it will be a new age for Totsuki. Naruto mentioned as he glanced into the distance towards a certain dormitory in the distance. The person said warmly and expectantly. Yeah, I will call you later. Naruto promised. Naruto's smile grew so fond if anyone saw him, they would think he was getting a hug. Love you. Naruto said warmly before he glanced around to make sure he was alone. Naruto finished in a whisper, pressing his lips right to his phone, so nobody unless they were on the phone could hear him. The voice replied with amusement in their voice. It's embarrassing to call you that. Naruto retorted as his cheeks were rather red. The voice said in farewell. Bye. I will call you more often when I can. Naruto promised as he pressed his finger to end the call. Eventually, from trudging through the forest, it was already nighttime to the point where Naruto put on a hood to keep relatively warm. He walked until he passed through the gates and saw the dormitory in front of him. Looks like the famous Kyakuserum or the Polar Star dormitory is here after all. Naruto said as he tapped on the door several times lightly. After a few seconds he heard an irritated older woman voice coming from inside the dorm. Who is knocking at this late? It's the middle of the night. An older woman's voice mumbled before she opened the door to Naruto. What do you want? The woman asked gruffly, seeing someone in a cloak and hood over their head, dragging a wagon full of odd items behind them. Sorry to be a bother, but can I come in? It's a bit chilly outside. Naruto said with an apologetic tone, lifting his head up. Wait a moment. You're the older woman with spiky gray hair gasped when she saw past his hood to see his face and eyes. I have heard a great deal about you, Fumio Damon-san, and am honored to make your acquaintance. He said with a bow as Fumio had wide eyes before stepping aside, allowing him inside the building. You're Naruto Nakiri, the famous older brother of the number 10 seed Erina. Nakiri, Fumio asked as she pointed at him with shaky hands once Naruto closed the door behind him lightly. I am indeed. I am pleased you have heard of me. Naruto said cheerfully, giving her another quick and polite bow. What exactly is it you wish to hear, Naruto Nakiri? Fumio asked with notable skepticism clear in her voice. Naruto's face gained a slight smirk as he gestured to the wagon behind him. Well, Fumio-san, can I ask? Is there a room available for me to sleep in? Naruto asked as Fumio's eyes grew wide as dish plates. Wait, you mean? Fumio sputtered, pointing at the room above herself. Is there any sort of test or fee I need to take or give tonight? Naruto asked as Fumio looked like a fish out of water. Meanwhile, shortly afterwards inside Kyakuserum room 205. It was Sma's welcome party for having passed the entrance exam to get a room to live inside of Kyakuserum dormitory. Sma was sitting on the floor next to his new friend lab partner Megumi Tadakoro, who was looking interested in their new dorm mates. Megumi has long dark blue hair with 2 braided pigtails and wears a flower hairpin on the right side of her hair. She has yellow-colored eyes and a petite body figure with a tight yet noticeably plump waist. She tended to have nervous reactions around large groups of people, which she attributed to stage fright. Zenji Mari was complaining about Kyakuserum residents typically having parties in his room, despite his claims that anyone else could have parties in their rooms. Yuki Yoshino is a petite young girl with teal-colored eyes and amber-colored hair tied up into 2 small buns on the side of her face. Yuki said with a shrug, hey, your room is the only one big enough to fit us in. As she sat on Zenji's bed, much to his anger. Ryoko Sakiki was a young woman with a notably large bust, along with long fuchsia hair and same-colored eyes. Ryoko with a smile sat on her knees on the floor. Your place is the neatest as well. Ryoko pointed out calmly. It's because I just finished cleaning it. Zenji retorted. As Zenji complained to Shoji Sato for destroying the place before and Daigo Aoki about refusing to put more chairs into his room. Both of those men had tall muscular frames, although Shoji had blonde hair while Daigo had short black hair. Shun Ibusaki was calmly sitting on the floor with his bangs covering his eyes, calmly sipping on some form of liquid from a paper cup. Soma commented on how it was great luck that he was dorm mates with Megumi, although she was shocked to hear he actually passed on his first try at the entrance exam, since she secretly took a full 3 months just to get a room in middle school. I wonder why Isiki-senpai is. He usually would be back by now to welcome the new guy. Ryoko wondered, crossing her arms around her large bust. Isiki is he guy who crawled through the ceiling to get me to come to the party. Soma wondered as everyone shared a nervous laugh. That's him alright, but seriously, where is he? Yuki asked, only for the door to be knocked rather softly. Oh. That must be him. Soma said cheerfully as he got up to open the door. He opened the door with a confused expression as someone he didn't know answered the door. Who are you?" Soma asked as everyone turned to him talking to someone outside the room. "Soma, it's not Isiki-senpai at the door." Megumi asked from her spot on the door. "Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you face to face, Soma Yukihira," Naruto said brightly. Soma gave a tilt of head as he looked at the Unquan guy who looked like his age. "You know me? I am sure we haven't met before," Soma pointed out as Naruto rubbed his head slightly. "Well, I think every first year has heard of you based on your interesting introduction during opening ceremony," Naruto pointed out as Soma gave a chuckle. Soma rubbed his own head in embarrassment before he stepped aside. Well, I guess that's fair. Anyways, you look cool, so come on in," Soma said as Naruto walked in. As soon as Naruto stepped in with his rather plain short-sleeved black shirt and black pajamas bottoms, everyone else besides the clueless Soma seemed to turn to stone. "What's with you, guy? Have you seen a ghost?" Soma asked in confusion as Naruto gave a slight sigh, being used to this kind of reaction. "Soma. Do you know who that is?" Ryoko stuttered, pointing at Naruto shakily. Soma asked. Naruto coughed, so Soma turned to him. "My name is Naruto Nakiri. First-year student and newest resident at Harem. Pleasure to meet you all," Naruto said with a bow and kind smile. "Nakiri?" Soma said with eyes of realization as he also realized Naruto resembled Erina Nakiri in both eye and hair color. Naruto rubbed his head nervously with a shrug. "Soma. That is Naruto Nakiri. He is the older twin to Erina Nakiri, and together they had the highest grades in the middle school division. It is said he and his sister have never gotten less than an A the entire time during their middle school years." Yuki sputtered as Soma gave a new look at Naruto, who continued to look rather nervous. "Wait, I think that secretary of Erina said something," Soma thought as he remembered during his entrance exam by Erina, the pink-haired follower saying something. Flashback to entrance test. "Do you know who you tried to touch?" A pink-haired girl screeched at the confused Soma stood back. No," Soma said as the girl scoffed. "This is Erina Nakiri-sama. She is the youngest person who is on the council of 10. She is one of the 2 people who got the highest scores during our middle school years. If you put your mediocre skills against them, you would be comparing heaven and earth compared to you," the pink-haired girl claimed as Erina merely smirked at the bored Soma. Back to present. "So, this is who she was talking about. Naruto Nakiri, her older brother." Soma thought deep in thought. "Anyways. My name is Naruto Nakiri, and since I will be living here, can I ask the names of my fellow residents?" Naruto asked politely as the petrified members gulped and seemed to get color back to their faces. They soon introduced themselves to Naruto, but to their shock, he asked if he could call them by their first names with the condition they call him by his first name as well. "Really? You want us to call you by your first name?" Yuki sputtered with a blush when Naruto focused his attention on her. "Of course. We are basically roommates, so it's only right we call each other informally," Naruto said, warmly giving them a warm smile, allowing some of the tension to ease. Just as Naruto was about to talk, Satoshi Isiki stormed in with a panicked look. "Eyes. Fumio-san just told me. We have to be on our best behavior as Naruto Nakiri is moving in for a while," Isiki shouted in panic. He had not noticed the man he was talking about was in the room with a calm smile on his face. Isiki-senpai, he's right there," Zenji pointed out as Isiki saw Naruto, who waved at him. "Hello, Isiki-senpai. Pleasure to meet my senpai. Please call me Naruto if you wish," Naruto greeted with a bow and putting his hand out. Isiki's eyes widened for a second, seeing the outreached hand before his easygoing smile appeared on his face. "Hello Naruto-kun, welcome to Harem," Isiki said with a smile, shaking Naruto's hand. Naruto-san?" Megumi asked, keeping when Naruto turned his attention to her. "Yes," Naruto replied kindly. "Is there a reason you are here? I mean, you live at the Nakiri mansion, right?" Megumi asked as everyone leaned in to hear Naruto's reply. "Of course, they would have a mansion, as it seems like the Nakiri name is gold here," Soma thought dryly. Well, Naruto said with a nervous chuckle. Flashback a few hours ago. Naruto frowned when he could hear Erina shouting through the door. He slept in his own room in the mansion, but he occasionally did go over into Erina room whenever he wanted. That stupid Soma Yukihira. How dare he mock everything this academy is for? Erina screeched as Naruto tried to cover his ears. "You said it, Erina-sama. He is a slacker of the lowest degree," Hisako agreed, standing next to Erina's bed. Hisako also had a separate room in the mansion, but often came to chat with Erina before they went to sleep in their own beds. "Okay, I think Erina will rant all night," Naruto thought as he sneaked out his room and went down. "Maybe I can bunk with Alice," Naruto thought as he walked outside of Alice's room. Truthfully, he had no problem bunking with either of his sisters to the point when they were really tired, he even slept in the same bed as them with nobody having any complaints. That stupid Erina. Why does she get to hug Naruto all the time? Alice's voice shouted as Naruto stopped his approach to her bedroom. Okay, well, Alice is now going to rant about Erina all night, Naruto thought as he let out a silent sigh. So, this mansion is going to be filled with girls complaining for most of the night. Is there any way else I can sleep at least for tonight? Naruto thought. Naruto put hand underneath his chin as he remembered something. Wait, I know most students live off campus besides the people who live here, but isn't there a place on campus for students? I think it was called Polar Star Dormitory. Naruto thought as he glanced at the doors of Alice and Erina who were still yelling. I also better bring some stuff as part of a welcome party for my new friends. I think there is a storage closet full of stuff nobody will miss. Naruto thought with a grin as he packed a few clothes into a suitcase and snuck off. Back to present. So basically, the mansion was full of noise, so I decided I needed at least a place to stay for tonight. Naruto said simply as everyone gave him slightly dry, disbelieving expression. Would noise be enough to not want to live in a mansion? Soma and Megumi both had the same thoughts as they watched Naruto chuckle nervously. Wait. You passed the entrance exam as well? Soma asked excitedly as Naruto smiled and nodded. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of ingredients left, so I left it simple by Fumio-san said it was acceptable, so she gave me a key. Naruto said as he pulled out a key for room 305, much to the surprise of the other members of Harem. Meanwhile with Fumio. Fumio was sitting on a chair with a dumbfounded expression. I still can't believe he made ramen with such few ingredients. She mumbled as she looked at the empty bowl that was filled with ramen. And I can't believe it still tasted like the best thing I have ever eaten. She said with sheer disbelief that such a simple dish could make her mouth water even after she finished eating it. Back with Naruto. Oh no, another guy got a dorm room on his first try. Well, I spent 3 months trying to get a room, at least that barn was dry and warm, Megumi thought to herself in depression as she curled into a ball in the corner with an imaginary rain cloud over her head. Ryoko and Yuki tried to comfort the depressed girl while Isiki just had a small laugh. Is she okay? Naruto whispered to Soma who shrugged. Who knows? She did the same thing when she found out I passed the entrance exam on my first day. Soma commented as Naruto nodded his head. Anyways, it looks like you will be next door neighbors to me and Megumi. Soma said with a grin as Naruto gave him a nod. Naruto could see out the corner of his eyes Zenji still looking rather annoyed his room was being used as a welcome party room and felt bad. Zenji-san. Would you rather if we took the party to my room? Naruto asked kindly as everyone looked at him in bewilderment. What? Zenji stuttered as this had never happened where someone else offered their room for these frequent parties. I mean, I am the newest member of Harem, so it's only fair I pitch in as well. My room at least should be decent hangout place while I am here. Naruto said as he grabbed Soma and Megumi and dragged them out the door much to Megumi confusion. Should we follow them? Ryoko asked after a few moments as Isiki nodded. Yes. I believe it should be rather fun and I would like to see how Naruto-kun arranges his room. Isiki said as the rest of the members nodded with Zenji the most gleeful. Yes. If they trash his room, I won't have to clean it up. Zenji thought evilly in his head. Soon the group walked up the stairs and opened the door and saw wide-mouthed Soma and Megumi. The rest of the group jaw also dropped when they saw what Naruto had in his room. Naruto had a simple bed against the wall like everyone else, but it was clear Naruto must have brought quite a few things with him when he moved in. He brought about 10 fold-up chairs that looked rather comfortable. 2 tables that had the chairs surround and a smaller but fully functional stove and fridge. The room itself was positioned so people could easily access the kitchen portion while maneuvering around the chairs and table with relative ease. Welcome everyone. I guess this is my little place for now. I hope you don't mind sitting in these chairs. They are easily foldable so I can leave them in the corner when I don't need them. Naruto said modestly, rubbing his head in embarrassment. After a few moments Soma was the one who broke the silence. Dude. This place is freaking amazing. Soma shouted as Naruto chuckled nervously. You think so? I think it's a bit clustered, but I am glad you don't mind. Naruto admitted. Indeed, Naruto-kun. I say this is rather impressive. Where may I ask did you get all this furniture? Harem does not have this available for students. Ishiki pointed out as Naruto gave a small smile. The Nakiri mansion has quite a bit of supplies that most Nakiri would never bother using, so I borrowed some for my room. I am sure if they ever do find out it's missing they would understand since I am a Nakiri after all. Naruto said with a chuckle. Did this guy admit stealing or at least borrow without asking property from his own residence? Megumi thought as she stared at the taller boy. Anyways, find a spot and sit down. I am going to ask Fumio-san if she can bring us some food for our welcome party. Naruto said brightly as he passed the group and started to walk down the nearby staircase. Well, this guy is nice. Soma said after a moment. Not what I would expect from an Nakiri. Zenji admitted, adjusting his glasses. Naruto-kun does seem rather modest and down to earth, especially since his family is one of the most powerful families in Japan. Isiki remarked. I guess you can't judge someone by their last name, huh? Ryoko noted as everyone nodded. Yeah, never thought I would be invited to dine with an actual Nakiri ever. Yuki chuckled nervously. The various groups sat at the two tables. Despite it being foldable chairs and simple tables, everyone agreed it was very comfortable. At one table it was Shoji, Ryoka, Yuki, Zenji and Daigo. The other table had Soma, Megumi, Ishiki and Shun. The second table had a chair between Isiki and Soma for Naruto. Naruto returned several minutes later holding 2 plates of stewed amberjack and daikon in one hand. He also carried a tray that held 10 separate steaming rice bowls with a layer of scrambled eggs on top. Hey everyone. Stewed amberjack and daikon courtesy of our lovely dorm mother Fumio-san. Naruto announced, carefully setting 1 plate of each on each table. Boo, thanks grandma. Daigo shouted at the speaking tube, knowing their dorm mother would be able to hear. Megumi noticed the rice bowls and decided to ask, did Fumio-san make Yu's rice as well? Seeing the hot bowls of rice steaming from the tray. Woo. That smells good. Like super way more than normal good. Zenji noted as Naruto set the tray down at his table. Actually, I made the rice for us tonight. Naruto said with an embarrassed smile. Everyone turned to the male Nakari with wide eyes. You made this for us? Yuki asked with surprise as Naruto gently passed a bowl of rice to each person. Yeah. I mean, it was a party, so I thought it would be nice if I helped out with dinner prep. Naruto stated as he sat down at his own chair. Daigo and Shoji's eyes started to water as they had manly tears run down their faces. Bro. You are one of us no matter what. Yeah bro. You rock. The two men shouted as Naruto had a slight sweat drop but polite smile. Thanks. Naruto said with uncertainty. That's a good thing, right? Naruto thought to himself as he saw Ryoka give him a kind smile. Don't mind them, Naruto-san. They are just excited. Ryoka assured him as Naruto nodded. Yeah Naruto. We are basically like a family here at Kaioshisarum, so please don't mind these knuckleheads. Yuki said cheerfully, deciding to not use honorifics with the friendly Nakari. Oh no. Yuki-chan is being too forward. We just met him and she is already saying his first name without honorifics. Megumi thought with worry as she started to get worried. Whatever you say Yuki-chan. Naruto replied with a smile. Anyways. Let's eat while it's still hot. Naruto declared. Hi. Everyone chanted at the same time. Thank you for the meal. Everyone then chanted as they bowed their head in respect for the meal presented in front of them. Everyone placed the chopsticks with rice and eggs in it to their mouths and took a bite. The girls Ryoka, Yuki and Megumi rolled their eyes out as they nearly had a mini-organism taken that first bite of the food. The rest of guys started to pant and grunt as their taste buds nearly exploded in joy. Naruto had a normal expression as if he was used to this. Turned out okay, I think. Naruto thought to himself as he glanced around to see his new dorm mates in mini episodes of pleasure. So good. Everyone sang together as Naruto gave a bright smile. So glad. I am not used to cooking for different people, so I tried to go simple and quick. Naruto noted. There is a slight crunch to it. It must be chopped up chunks of white onions in the eggs. Isiki noted as he took another bite. Plus, a contrast of green onions and garlic is also in the rice. Shun remarked. So fluffy and easy to chew. Megumi moaned softly. The rice itself has a nice blend of garlic powder to give it a slight spicy blend. Soma beepized. Nice job guys. You should try it with a daikon and amberjack. Naruto suggested, having placed some onto his bowl and continued to eat. Everyone quickly placed some daikon and amberjack onto their bowls and ate the rice and eggs along with them. They soon started to cry out in happiness. It's even better now. Ryoka announced as everyone nodded. Glad you think so. I knew that they were salty, so I intentionally tried to make the rice and eggs go with the saltiness of the things Fumio-san made us. That way we could enjoy the meal even more. Naruto commented with a smile. Everyone soon started to munch through the food rather quickly and then relaxed with a satisfied smile once the food was finished. While Naruto calmly ate his food, everyone was moaning and enjoying every bite. Does anyone have anything to drink? Naruto asked politely as everyone gave him incredulous looks. How can you be so calm? I mean, we are eating the same food, right? Yuki asked with a raised eyebrow. Yeah. But since it's my cooking, I am guessing it doesn't have the same zing to it as when other people taste other food. Naruto commented lightly as everyone gave him slow nods. Ryoka's eyes lit up as she brought up paper cups and a bottle of what looked like wine out of seemingly nowhere. I have this drink. Drink it up everyone. Ryoka said, carefully pouring the liquid into cups as everyone took a cup. Thank you. Naruto and Soma said gratefully. This looks so cloudy and thick, Soma thought, glancing at the white liquid. It also has a homemade label. Naruto noticed. Seeing the two newest members look thoughtful, Ryoka chuckled. Yeah, it's a homemade drink made from rice. Ryoka revealed as Soma's eyes widened while Naruto gave a thoughtful nod. I see. Well, time for the taste test. Naruto said as everyone looked with held breath as Naruto put the cup up to his lips. He tipped it and took a sip as everyone waited. Naruto swished it around in his mouth for a few seconds before swallowing with closed eyes. After a moment he opened his eyes and gave a smile. It tastes great. Thanks. Naruto said as everyone cheered. He liked it. Megumi said happily as everyone soon raised their cups up. Who are two newest members to the Kyakuserum dorm? Soma Yukihara and Naruto Nakiri. Isiki announced as everyone gave a cheer. And to the pride and joy of Kyakuserum itself. Zenji finished as they all took a sip. Soon the newly formed family of Kyakuserum went into party mode as the night went on, and they drank more rice juice, despite it being non-alcoholic. Naruto fit in right away as the night went on. The awkwardness of him being a Nakiri faded as they soon saw him as someone remarkably fun and cool-headed and not stuck up at all. Hey guys. Can I ask? Who is the Council of 10? Soma decided to pipe up as everyone looked him with surprise and pity. Naruto at least gave him a sympathetic look. I am guessing you were not told much about this school before you enlisted? Naruto asked as Soma shook his head. Not really, besides this place being famous somehow. Soma said as everyone sighed. If Erina's secretary had no mentioned something about the Council of 10 being related to Erina, I would not have heard about it at all. Soma thought since it appeared not many people wanted to show the new transfer student the ropes. Zenji-kun, can you tell Soma-kun about it? Ryoka asked politely as Zenji frowned. Why me? Zenji asked with an annoyed expression of his face. Before Yuki could give Zenji a snappy response, Naruto raised his hand. It's okay, I think I would be most suited to explain about the 10. Naruto said cheerfully. I agree, Naruto-kun. Isiki as he gave him a knowing look. So, in basic terms, the academy is set up a bit different than most institutions or schools. There is still a board of directors and director himself who stand at the top of the school in hierarchy, but they rarely get involved in disputes in day-to-day matters. Naruto started as Soma paid great attention. Below them there is 10 students who basically reign supreme. The Council of 10 are 10 elite students who have almost unlimited power in the school. They are the school top 10 students, and collectively or at least majority ruling are allowed to make rules or decrees for the school that must be followed. Naruto told Soma, who had wide eyes. Wait, what? Students run this school? Soma said with a surprised look. Yuki shrugged. That's a bit crude, Soma-kun, but essentially. I mean, if a member of the 10 makes a ruling, not even teachers are allowed to fight them on it. Don't I know it? I mean, Professor Ho-Ho could have been fired if Erina was annoyed, no matter what his teaching record was. Naruto thought in agreement. Don't underestimate them, Soma. Being a member of the 10 and graduating from this school almost always promises your name will be famous in the cooking world. Some of the most famous chiefs who came from Japan can trace their past to here as a member of the 10. They are the elite for a reason. Naruto warned as Soma grew a confident smile. I see. Hey Naruto, your sister Erina is one of the 10, right? Soma asked as Naruto raised an eyebrow. Oh my god. Soma-kun is talking so informally about Erina-san. Megumi thought with worry, especially since Naruto was her brother and might be offended someone spoke so informally about his sister. Luckily Naruto did not seem offended, rather more amused. Yup, Erina is the current number 10 seat. Naruto confirmed as Soma had a serious expression as he started to think. My. Soma-kun seems to want a position on the 10. Isiki teased as Soma gave him a grin. Well, I did promise I would be the top student at this school, so I think being number 1 of that council of 10 would be best way to do it. Soma challenged as everyone besides Isiki and Naruto sighed. Well, you have guts for sure. Ryoka admitted with a smile. But you are reckless as the 10 are monsters compared to us students. Yuki said with a shudder. Soma did not look convinced, asking, come on, they are students like us, right? How bad can they be? Naruto gave a smirk as Isiki stood up somehow in just an apron and loincloth, much to Soma's shock and surprise. Well, Erina did say all the members of 10 are eccentric except for her, of course. Naruto thought with irony. Well, Soma Yukihara-kun. Let me introduce myself again. I am Satoshi Isiki, the current number 7 of the 10. Isiki said with smile, but notable a challenging look in his eyes. Soma's jaw dropped as he stood up to look at his senpai. Wait, what, this guy is on the same league as Erina and those so-called monsters? Soma thought with surprise. You're a member of the 10? Soma asked with wide eyes as everyone nodded. Yup, Arasaki-senpai is the pride of Kaiaku's Harem. He is a second year and the only person from here who has been on the Council of 10 in years. Zenji said with admiration. Oh guys. Stop. You are embarrassing me. Isiki claimed with a blush before he got serious as he looked at Soma with critical eyes. So Soma-kun, do you want to have a little test to see what the Council of 10 can do? Isiki suggested as Naruto eyes widened. There's no way Isiki-senpai will suggest an actual food war now of all times, right? Naruto thought before he realized it would be unofficial as they didn't fit the criteria to make it official. Soma looked shocked for a moment before a huge grin appeared on his face. Alright. Let our dishes do the talking, Isiki-senpai. Soma announced as he tied his washcloth to his head as a makeshift headband. Indeed, Soma-kun. Let me see your cooking. Isiki replied as they both got up. Why don't we let our resident Nakiri decide the theme of the dish? Isiki suggested as Naruto blinked before sighing. Me? Alright, let's see. I think something with mackerel as the star should be the theme. Naruto announced as both opponents nodded in agreement. Since we have no official time limits, how about we take turns using Naruto-kun's stove and kitchen supplies? Isiki suggested as Soma looked confused. Alright. Soma said, uncertain why Isiki suggested this format. As Soma sat down in his seat, Megumi looked confused as well. Why is Isiki-senpai allowing Soma to see his cooking ahead of time? Megumi wondered as Shun briefly took a look at her. It's cause Isiki is going to win no matter what, he is giving Soma-san some form of handicap. Shun whispered as Megumi eyes widened. Soon Isiki started to cook his dish with such ease and lack of effort, it made Soma whistle in appreciation. Wow, senpai sure is strong. I mean, look at him go. Soma said with admiration. The way Isiki is cooking is nowhere near the level I would expect the number 7 seat to cook. Naruto thought with a neutral expression. Soon Isiki completed his dish as everyone started to sniff and pant at the smell of his dish. It is done. Soma-kun, may I present to you my pepper mackerel with a puree garnish? Isiki announced as he set a single plate with a mackerel fillet on top of a green puree and spring green cabbage. Wow, this looks delicious, senpai, but why I am eating it? Soma asked as Isiki gave him a smile. Since I challenged you, I thought we should taste each other's dishes instead of a judge. Isiki said simple as he looked around for everyone to give him a nod. Soma soon took a fork and took a piece of the fish along with the puree into his mouth. Soma's eyes soon started to water as he gasped. This dish is on a whole different level than the ones the other students were cooking in our lessons. So this is the power of the 10. Soma said in amazement as Isiki smiled. That is quite a bit of praise. Now Soma-kun, let's see if you can back up that speech you made at the opening ceremony and cook something spectacular. Isiki prodded as Soma nodded. Alright, since the theme is mackerel, I think I will make something from my home restaurant. Yukihara's secret menu item number 20. Soma shouted as he took over the stove from Isiki, who sat down. Wow, look at Soma go. He is really getting into this. Yuki noticed as Soma started to cook furiously. Megumi looked at Soma with admiration before she glanced at Naruto, who had an expressionless face watching Soma. Naruto-san. Do you think Soma could actually win? Megumi asked as Naruto gave a thoughtful expression. I don't know, but he might be able to draw. Naruto guessed as Shun, and everyone gave him skeptical looks. Look, Naruto-kun. Soma-kun is full of moxie, I will give him that, but Isiki-senpai is a member of the 10. Ryoka pointed out as Naruto gave her a dry smile. But didn't everyone start out as a student like Soma before they could become the elite 10 members? Naruto brought up as this made everyone go silent. Soon Soma finished his dish in a bowl and topped it off with hot tea as its broth. Here you go, senpai. Revamped mackerel onigiri chazuke. Enjoy. Soma said as he put out 3 bowls of his dish. It looked like a traditional noodle dish with broth, but instead had white rice in the bottom, thin strips of kelp as the vegetable, and a single fillet of mackerel on top. Dear Megumi and Naruto, please try some as well. Soma offered as Megumi nodded happily. Thanks, Soma-kun. Naruto said with a smile as he put the bowl to his mouth. Thank you for the food. The 3 people eating chanted as they took some fish into their mouths and chomped down. After a few seconds they took some broth and slurped it down with some rice. After a tense moment they all had stars in their eyes. So good. Megumi moaned. It was exquisite, Soma-kun. Isiki said with a huge smile. I see. This is super good, Soma-kun. Naruto praised. Soma took his headband off and then he said proudly, you're welcome. Well, at least he has confidence in spades. Naruto thought with humor, knowing some people would be rather offended he didn't say thank you instead. Isiki then thought for a moment before saying, so I think both of our food is about on the same level, so I think we can consider this a draw. Soma grinned, muttering, yes, I tied with the number 7 seat, so now I can beat Erina Nakiri. Soon the party winded down as Naruto told everyone they should at least try to sleep. He refused to let anyone to help him clean up since it was his first place, and he did offer to. Bye everyone. See you tomorrow. Naruto said as he waved people off. Soon it was just him, Soma and Isiki. So Isiki-senpai, if I beat you before I would taken your seat on the council, right? Soma asked eagerly. Naruto was about to correct Soma on his wrong thinking, but Isiki beat him to it. That's right Soma-kun, but since it was a draw sadly nothing changes. Anyways off to sleep my adorable junior. Isiki said dismissingly as Soma frowned but took his leave. Isiki was about to leave until he heard Naruto's voice. Please wait Isiki-senpai. Naruto asked with a serious expression. What's this? Is young Naruto-kun trying to take my seat as well? Isiki joked, but Naruto's expression stayed serious. You held back a lot didn't you senpai? Naruto accused with a frown as Isiki kept smiling. Whatever do you mean? I tried very hard to make that dish and Soma-kun still equaled it. Isiki claimed. HMPH. From what my sister told me your skills should be far stronger than what you showed Soma and matter of fact, if you did a specialty dish, I think Soma would not have been in the same league as you let alone a draw. Naruto stated as Isiki shrugged. Who knows? But what I do know is Soma-kun has rare talent, so he may end up surpassing me eventually. Isiki said smoothly as Naruto sighed. Fine. I will let Soma think he managed to tie with one of the 10. Naruto said reluctantly. Thanks. Naruto-kun. You're the best. Isiki said shaking his hand. Isiki stooped there as Naruto gave him a weird look. Are you going home? And I don't mean through the attic please. It kinda creeps me out. Naruto said with a shudder. Isiki's smile left his face as Naruto was on edge to how serious he was being. Naruto. You hold for Erina-chan say correct? Isiki asked with a frown. Naruto narrowed his eyes and with great restraint he spoke. You're wrong senpai. Erina is the number 10 seat and I am not. It's that simple she is one of the 10 and I am not. Isiki scoffed turning around. If you and Erina-chan had to do a food wars for that spot who would win it I wonder. Isiki said as he walked away glancing to see Naruto heated glare. Erina is going to be number 1 at this school. It's as simple as that and Alice will be in the top as well. Naruto said resolutely as he looked down for a moment. By the time he looked up Isiki was already gone and his door closed. That is the way it's going to be no matter what. Naruto whispered as he glanced out to the moonlight. The next morning. Everyone soon woke up and walked to the first floor where there was table and chairs in a makeshift dining hall with Fumio in the back making breakfast in the kitchen. As everyone gathered and grumpily and wearily started to wake up and say good morning to each other. When they opened the door everyone blinked as in the middle of the room was Soma. He had taken a single chair and sat cross-legged, making sure his own feet did not touch the ground. He opened his eyes full of determination. Satoshi Isiki-senpai. You brushed me off last night, but now we are awake. I challenge you with your number 7 seat on the line. Soma shouted proudly. Isiki gave him a flat look tilting his head as Soma also tilted his head, although with confusion at Isiki's lack of response. After a few seconds the other residents sat down at the large tables waiting for breakfast to be ready. Isiki questioned as Soma looked resolute. Oh. I see. Sorry for not telling you correctly Soma-kun, but here at Kyakuserum, it is not that simple to get a council seat of the 10. Isiki apologized. Megumi looked around and then said with worry hey where is Naruto-san? Everyone soon looked around and noticed the lack of a certain Nakiri. Yeah, grandma where did our bro Naruto go? Daigo asked as Fumio peeked out from the kitchen. Not sure. He awoke a bit before you did and said he's something he had to do, but he would be back for breakfast. Fumio said flatly before she returned to cooking. Everyone looked uncertain but continued on regardless. Fumio soon returned with tea and various cooked vegetables for breakfast. Soma and Isiki soon sat at the table as Soma frowned. Soma-kun here at Itsuki there is a method to settle disputes. Will you could challenge me for my seat on the 10 there are a few things before it could happen. Isiki told Soma who pouted. So many rules. Soma mumbled. First you need to offer something in return for me losing my council seat. Isiki explained as Soma gave a confused look. Offer? Like what? Soma asked. Honestly the bare minimum is your expulsion from school if you lost. Isiki admitted. Soma's eyes widened. Seriously I would have to offer that? Soma said with notable surprise and shock. Hey kid it's a seat on the 10. It's a prize most students would kill for. Fumio told him bluntly. She then sighed as she looked on re-embrace. To think in the golden age we used to have council 10 members almost every year from Kyakuserum. By comparison you all suck. Fumio said dreamily then bluntly. Oh you still love us? Yuki said as Megumi giggled. So, Soma-kun I would have no reason to accept a challenge for you real, since you would be expelled if you lost. And I would rather prefer all my juniors stick around if possible. Isiki explained as Soma looked put off. Plus, you need to have a few conditions as well. First you need authorized officials from the school to make it valid, then you need an odd number of judges, and finally you and your opponent need to agree to the stakes and conditions of the battle. Isiki revealed. This battle of the ages involving food at our humble school has been given a name. A name of conquest and battle food war. Isiki revealed. That's right. Soma-kun food wars are the way to settle disputes including the shifting of council tent seats. Naruto said from the table. Everyone glanced toward him before they gasped. When did you get back? Yuki shouted. How did we not see you there? Megumi gasped. Oh. I was here while Isiki-senpai did his explanation, but you seemed so entranced I didn't want to interrupt. Naruto said calmly as he sipped his tea. Hey. What were you doing outside the dorm this morning? Soma asked. I'm talking to some annoyed people and calming them down. Naruto said vaguely as a picture of Alice and Erina appeared in his head. So you high schoolers can challenge anyone on campus? Soma asked with a deep thought. It's not well known, Soma, but middle school students can accept food wars, it's just not that common, since usually they don't anything to offer to the high school division. Naruto thought. Actually, Alice became the head of the cutting-edge cooking research society through a food war when she was in middle school, but she is not that organized, so I convinced the previous guy to just let her use their room for her own research. Good thing I helped him and his former members find new clubs to join. Naruto thought of his sister who focused more on flashy techniques, rather making plans ahead of time. He actually felt rather bad that his sister humiliated the previous guy and didn't even know she took responsibilities with it. If you can get all the conditions met and have someone accept, then yes, you could challenge anyone on campus, Soma-kun. Naruto said with a smile. So, if I challenged your sister, I could get her seat? Soma asked slyly as everyone held their breath waiting for Naruto's answer. She wouldn't accept a food war against you. Naruto said flatly as Soma got rather mad. Why not? Soma demanded. Because she doesn't get anything from the challenge. Sure, if she wins you get expelled, but a council seat is harder to earn back if you lose it in the first place. Naruto remarked as Soma pouted, leaning into her chair. Well, how did she get her fancy seat in the first place? Soma asked as Naruto continued to eat. Well, I heard that Erina-san was given a seat by her grandfather Nakiri-sama. Megumi said with a finger on her chin. Yeah, that's what I heard too. Ryoka said as everyone besides Naruto and Isiki nodded their heads. Naruto-san, are you okay? Megumi asked with worry as everyone turned to Naruto, who appeared to turn white and started to close his mouth slowly in shock. Wait, this is people think my sister got her seat. She got it from grandfather because she is an Nakiri, Naruto asked in shock. Isn't that true? Yuki asked uncertainly. No. She earned her spot by food war against the former number 10. Naruto claimed as everyone looked at him skeptically. Don't give me that look, it's true. I mean, it wasn't broadcast across the world or anything, so I could see how first years didn't know about it. Isiki-senpai. You a member of the 10, surely you must have known about this. Naruto demanded as everyone turned to the sheepish Isiki. Oh, that's right. Sorry, you guys never asked, so I never told anyone. Isiki said innocently, but Naruto could swear a smirk was on his face. So how did Erina-san challenge the former number 10 to a food war? Shun asked eagerly. Everyone leaned as Naruto cleared his throat. Alright, so Erina did not challenge the former number 10. She got challenged by the former number 10 and she accepted. Naruto revealed. Wait, what? Why would a number 10 challenge Erina-san to a food war with her title on the line? Zenji demanded. Naruto shrugged. The former number 10 was on her last year 2 months ago, while Erina and I were our last 2 months of middle school. She got jealous of Erina, so she challenged Erina to a food wars before we graduated to the high school division. She was so beepy she bet her own spot claiming she wouldn't lose, so my sister accepted. Long story short, the former number 10 lost and Erina became the new number 10 before we got out of middle school. Naruto revealed, smirking at the shocked expressions of everyone else's expression. After a few moments of silence, everyone shouted, what? What? You don't think people get jealous of my sister? Some people are just petty enough to bet everything to spite someone, even if they can lose it all. Naruto said. Right, Jenny Realite? Naruto thought with a smirk as a very beautiful blonde appeared in his mind. Naruto's phone started to ring as he gave them an apologetic look. Sorry guys, I should answer this. Naruto said as he brought up the phone to his face and clicked on the answer icon. Hey Erina. I was just talking about you. Naruto said cheerfully as everyone else besides Soma and Isiki turned white when Erina's name was heard. Naruto, please refrain from talking to those people in that place. Erina's cool voice rang from the phone as everyone's head dropped. So cold-hearted. Everyone thought at once. Oh Erina. They are my doom mates, so you can at least show them a little respect and not refer to them as those people. Naruto mentioned with the slightest touch of reproach. Naruto bro is standing up for us. Daigo whispered to Shoji, who started to whimper manly tears. Interesting, Naruto-kun is reproaching the Ice Queen Erina-chan herself. Isiki thought with notable amusement. Whatever, Naruto. Erina's gruff response could be heard as Naruto rolled his yes playfully. Are you doing alright? Erina asked as her voice grew soft and full of concern. Everyone else in the dorm eyes grew wide as they resisted gasping hearing the Ice Queen sound so concerned about anyone. None of them besides Isiki and Soma had even met Erina in person, but they often heard rumors and accounts of the female Nakiri condescending and superior tone. I am all fine, sis. I heard you fought a food war just now. Naruto answered, then questioned. Yes, I won, and now that useless club has been disbanded. Erina said with a proud tone. Erina. Naruto sighed, rubbing his head in frustration. You disapprove? How is the Chan Research Society a vital part of the school? Erina's voice came through with annoyance, but with the slightest amount of pleading visible. Wow, Erina is almost seeking validation from Naruto for her actions. I guess he must really be her big brother. Soma thought as everyone was silent to hear every word spoken between the Nakiri twins. I won't deny that the Chan Research Society is not the best way to spend the school funding, especially as they have not made any true contributions in the last few years. Naruto admitted out loud. HMPH. Erina's triumphant voice could be heard as Naruto imagined his sister smirking. But is having the space allocated to a 6th private kitchen just for your use a real contribution to the school either? Naruto asked sharply. You mean Erina Nakiri already has 5 kitchens on campus for herself? Soma thought with his eyes widened. Erina-san really is heartless. Yuki thought since it seems like Erina Nakiri disbanded a club just for her own personal usage of the space. I mean it's your space too, Erina voice said with a hint of being shame at being scolded by her beloved older twin. Erina. Could you at least leave that space as free space for the future? Naruto asked. What? I won that space fair and square. Erina retorted in annoyance. Erina. Naruto said with a tired sigh. Fine, it's not like that dinky space is even worth renovating to my standards. Erina agreed with a cool tone, trying to pretend she was not doing it simply because Naruto asked. Thanks sis, you are the best. Naruto said warmly with a happy smile. Erina didn't reply, but Naruto could hear a slight hitch in her voice on the other line. Oh. Hisako-chan. Hi. Naruto chirped happily. Naruto-sama. Please don't refer to me so informally when you are on the phone. Hisako's embarrassed voice came from the phone. Aw. But Hisako, you are one of my oldest friends. Why wouldn't I call you as a friend? Naruto teased with a grin. Naruto-sama. Hisako's fluttered voice came from the phone as she started to stutter incomprehensively. Is this really the same Erina-san and Hisako Arado-san the school knows? Yuki whispered to Ryoko, who gave a nervous smile. I suppose around Naruto-kun they can't help but act differently. Ryoko whispered back. Unfortunately, Hisako was trained since childhood to detect any threat to her beloved Erina-sama and Naruto-sama, and to a much lesser degree Alice-sama. Erina-sama. I hear whispering from Naruto-sama phone. Hisako said urgently. What? Naruto. Is someone listening on your phone? Erina snapped angrily. Naruto looked over to the white-faced Kyakusara members with a smirk. Well, it's not on speakerphone if that is what you are asking. Naruto said teasingly. Naruto. You know what I mean. Erina snapped. Well, you know some people can hear things in the same room if they are listening hard enough. I mean it would be rude for me to leave the diner hall just to take a call from my beloved sister. Naruto remarked. Goodbye Naruto. Erina's snappy response shouted from the phone. Take care Naruto-sama. Hisako said just as the phone call went dead. Naruto took the phone from his ear and stuffed it into his pocket as he turned to the Kyakusara members with a smile. So, did you enjoy that little chat I had my Erina and Hisako-chan? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. You knew we were listening? Soma asked bluntly. You guys won't exactly being subtle. Naruto pointed out as the guys rubbed their heads and Megumi blushed and looked down. Besides, if I was trying to hide it, I would have went outside. Naruto remarked as he sat back down at the table. Naruto then looked to see the other members glancing at each other and trying to avoid his eyes. Let me guess. You are wondering why Erina and Hisako-chan seem to act differently on the call than what the school sees normally? Naruto asked with a sigh. No. No. Everyone chanted although Yuki had held Soma's lips shut. It's okay. I know they can be difficult at times. Naruto admitted. Naruto got a thoughtful expression. Erina has always had certain expectations put onto her since she was born with a god's tongue and into the famous Nakiri family. Naruto commented as everyone started to lean in. What's the god tongue? Soma asked as Megumi started to fidget. I am not sure where it came from. Maybe it's a genetic mutation or something only 1 in a billion people have. Naruto mused before shaking his head. Basically, Erina's tongue and palate are so refined she can taste every ingredient inside a dish from the first bite. Naruto revealed as Soma's eyes widened in surprise. Wait, everything? Soma asked as the rest of the members looked rather uncomfortable. Yeah. Rumor is Soma-kun that countless restaurant and food owners constantly ask Erina-chan opinion on whether their food is good or not. A recommendation from Erina-chan is basically the best kind of review there is. Isiki noted with a smile, but a slighter darker look in his eyes. On the flip side, if Erina gives your restaurant a bad mark, it could easily make your place blacklisted from any high-class clients. Naruto said calmly but with a smirk making everyone else nervous. It also means Erina has little free time to get to know people besides Hisako-chan, Alice and me. Plus all her duties as a member of the 10 means she has little knowledge on how to not be blunt and cool. Naruto said with a sigh. Everyone looked at the others as Naruto revealed some of the pressure that being Erina meant. Seeing everyone gloomy expression, Naruto's face grew warmer again. Of course, that doesn't mean Erina herself is that different. I mean, when she was a baby, I was told she rejected 50 high-class baby formulas before finally picking a single brand to eat. Naruto revealed with a laugh. Everyone soon imagined a devil-looking Erina as a baby looking stink-eyed as she threw a baby formula bottle on the floor. They also imagined countless maids and butlers on the floor crying with baby formula all over the floor. As everyone got over the imagine of the devil baby Erina, Nakiri Ryoko decided to ask Naruto something. So how about you, Naruto-kun? We never hear about your life as a Nakiri. Ryoko asked with a smile. Naruto's eyes widened for a few moments before his smile dropped. Nobody besides Soma, Megumi and Isiki saw his eyes grow sad and hurt for a moment before he turned away from the others. Me? I was a quiet baby who loved his sister. Naruto said simply, not looking at the others. As the girls gushed at Naruto's brotherly love, his sister Isiki's eyes narrowed. What aren't you telling us, Naruto-kun? Isiki thought shrewdly. I was different than Erina. Naruto whispered. Anyways. Is there something else you want to ask me? Naruto asked, looking at them again with a smile again on his face. I want to know how Erina beat the former number 10. Soma declared, looking at Naruto seriously. Why you want some tips, Soma-kun? Naruto teased as Soma scoffed. Can you please tell us about that, Naruto-san? Megumi begged with shiny eyes, although her face turned scarlet when Naruto did put his attention on her. I guess it's not really a secret anyways. Okay, so it was about 2 months before the start of the high school year. Naruto began as everyone started to listen intently. Flashback 2 months ago. Erina and Naruto were touring the high school with Hisako faithfully walking in step behind them. Should we really be touring this place, Erina? I mean, we haven't even officially graduated yet. Naruto asked as he saw many first and second years whispering around them. Our grades are already well past the passing marks. According to the records, our grades are the highest in the middle school division in the entire history of Totsuki. Erina said dismissively, glaring at the boys who were eyeing her or Hisako. This made the boys flinch at Erina's famous glare. Okay, I get why she is glaring at the boys since she doesn't like to be hit on, but why is she glaring at some of the girls too? Naruto thought in confusion, not seeing many first years smiling and beaming at him as he waved politely at them. That's right, Naruto-sama. There is no harm in touring the place we will be residing in 2 months. Matter of fact, the Nakiri mansion has already been modeled in preparation for you and Erina-sama arrival in 2 months' time. Hisako pointed out as Erina gave him a nod of approval. Well done, Hisako. Erina said proudly as Hisako blushed and nodded her head. Of course, Erina-sama. I live to serve. Hisako stated proudly. Whatever you say, Hisako-chan. Naruto said with a sigh, used to her insistence of being treated as an aide, not close friend. As the trio kept walking, they heard a rather rude female voice whisper rather loudly. Oh look. Here is the precious Nakiri princess strutting around like she owns the school just because her grandfather is the director. The female voice said mockingly as they turned around. Many students started to whisper in panic. Jenny-san is calling out Erina-sama. A girl with blonde hair and pigtails told her friend. The rude girl was Jenny Realight. It was a very beautiful tall blonde-haired girl who was in her final year at Totsuki. She had a figure and large friezes that supermodels would have despite being in high school. She had long wavy blonde tied into a ponytail flowing down her back. She had a variation of the Totsuki skirt which was longer than the typical skirt, being more like a mini dress, but without any knee socks and sandals that almost resembled heels instead of shoes. Her bright blue eyes and red lips were a contrast with her fair skin and blonde hair. This made many boys and even girls follow her with their eyes whenever she walked back. Jenny Realight. The current 10th seat of the Council of 10 in her final year. Hisako noted with narrowed eyes. Oh. It's Hashiko, right? Erina's little bodyguard. Nice to meet you. Jenny said with a mocking smile, even putting her hand out, although Hisako did not meet her hand. Based on what I heard, you should be a full-time model instead of a chef. Erina mocked as Naruto sighed, seeing his sister once again picking a fight. Aw. Erina Harem. My little soon-to-be junior, although sadly I won't be here when you move over to the big kid school. Jenny mocked with fake sadness as she turned to Erina, whose eyes narrowed, but she kept her cool head. Hello, Jenny-senpai. You look as fit and beautiful as everyone says. Naruto said politely as Erina narrowed her eyes. Jenny's nasty expression turned 180 as she got a happy and warm expression. Naruto Kohai. Junior classmate, I am so sad we won't be at the school at the same time. Jenny whined as she went to hug the younger boy, but Erina pulled Naruto behind her with a nasty glare. Naruto, you shouldn't bother yourself with someone as slutty as a certain blonde. Erina warned, holding Naruto behind her with her eyes glancing at Jenny, who grit her teeth. Oops, sorry. I forget how silly little girls who haven't gone through puberty get over through their older brothers. Jenny said with fake politeness and a mocking smirk. Naruto glanced at Erina, who growled silently but then grabbed Naruto's wrist. Naruto. Hisako. We are leaving. I do not have the time or patience to deal with chefs who show off their bodies on the side. Erina said, giving a subtle snipe at Jenny's position as a part-time model. As they walked past Jenny, she coughed and stretched, much to the joy of the boys who watched her figure move as she stretched. I guess the Nakiri Harem doesn't have time for us lesser beings, does she? Jenny asked as Erina kept walking. TCH. I guess she thinks she is better than the people here who didn't inherit the Nakiri name at birth, huh? Jenny said bitterly as the students who gathered around gulped. Naruto took a look at Erina, who was growling and biting her lip since he knew it was a sore subject for her. Little Miss Perfect has everything given to her since birth just because she has so-called god tongue and never had to work like the rest of us to get ahead, especially at Tatsuki. Jenny claimed as Erina stopped walking and let go of Naruto's hand to clench her fist. Erina. Let's go. We know she is just trying to bait you. Naruto whispered as Erina bit her lip in frustration. Erina then turned around to stare at the smirking Jenny. Sorry senpai, but unlike you, in 2 months' times I will start my journey here instead of ending it like you. Erina said, coolly crossing her arms and smirking when Jenny's eyes narrowed. Jenny took a moment to calm herself, especially when Erina gave that signature Nakiri smirk. Well, Harem, I think you are all talk and frankly not worth the school. Jenny taunted as Erina merely raised an eyebrow. Oh? You think I am here on my last name only? And what do you think being number 10 on your last year mean? You are Ms. High Rider then. Erina pointed out as several students nickered much to Jenny's ear. You little bitch. Jenny whispered as a nasty look appeared on her pretty face. Fine. Erina Nakiri. I challenge you to a food war. Jenny declared as everyone around gasped. Erina's face stayed the same cool expression. Why should I accept a food war with someone like you? Erina asked flatly. Because little Harem. I will bet my number 10 seed on the line. Jenny declared as even Naruto and Hisako looked surprised. And in return? Erina asked with a raised eyebrow but notable intrigued smirk on her face. If you lose. Jenny said before her smile grew wide. You will not enter Tatsuki next year and have to promise never to apply here ever. Jenny revealed, smiling at the slight surprised expression on Erina's face. The gathered crowd soon whispered excitedly about the challenge as they glanced between the busty teens like it was a tennis match. Hisako looked worried while Naruto had a stoic expression. After a few minutes, Erina's smirk returned full blast as she put on hands on her hips and eyes grew determined. Very well, Jenny replied, I accept your challenge. Erina declared as Jenny lost her composure and looked surprised. Wait, you know if you lose you will never get into the school, right? Jenny asked skeptically as Erina scoffed. If I can't beat a slut pretending to be chef, then I deserve to not be in the school. Erina taunted as Jenny hissed. Then the challenge was formally created with the theme being seafood noodles, with theme getting 2 days to prepare. The day of the challenge. Naruto and Hisako took front row seats on Erina's side, while the crowd was filled with first, second and third years who heard about the challenge between the current number 10 and the infamous Nakiri girl who possessed the god tongue. Be ready to lose, princess. Jenny taunted as she crossed her arm beneath her ample chest. Erina sighed and glared at the elder teen. Jenny realized, I believe you will make history at this school. Erina mused as Jenny scoffed. Of course, I will. I will be famous from preventing such a brat like you from entering the school. Jenny said with a laugh, but she stopped when she saw Erina with a smirk. No, you will make history for being the first and only member of the 10 to lose to a middle school girl, and her position as a member of the 10. Erina taunted as Jenny hissed. I will enjoy watching you grovel, you little brat. Jenny shouted as the 3-hour challenge began. Back in the present. So, then Erina won 3-0 challenge. Naruto finished with a smile as everyone blinked. Wow, so Erina-san was goaded into a fight with the former number 10 and won. Zenji murmured in surprise. So, before Erina was even here, she was as good as a member of the 10. Soma thought. Yes, it was quite the one-sided battle with quite a bit of trash talk from Jenny-chan. I was surprised that Erina-chan took it so well. Isiki popped up with a smile. This got surprised looks from everyone. Wait. You were actually there watching? Naruto asked surprised. Of course. It was such a controversial food war, some of the members of the 10 watched it from the TV set just to see how it would. Isiki said with a smile and a laugh. So, this guy was there and watched my sister become number 7, but he never bothered to tell first years that Erina earned her spot by conquest, not right. Naruto thought flatly. Erina-san is so amazing. She beat the number 10 in a clear victory. Megumi cheered as Naruto smiled. Yup, my sis is pretty amazing. In the matter of fact, she could probably rise higher if she wanted to, but she is content with the workload of being number 10 at the moment. Naruto claimed as Isiki's smile grew a bit challenging. Oh? Are you implying your sister could take my number 7 seat if we fought in a food war? Isiki asked as Naruto shrugged. I don't believe I said that, Isiki-senpai. Naruto pointed out as Isiki gave him a curious look before laughing. I suppose not. Isiki agreed before his eyes grew slightly darker as everyone was focused on Soma, declaring he was going to beat Erina and all the members of the 10 to everyone's disbelief. Now the question is, young Naruto-kun. Where would you rank if you tried to reach the top? Isiki thought with amusement. End chapter. So this part ends here. If you want to see next part of this series, like the video now and share the story with your friends. Bye bye.